Good evening, dear viewers. Today we will give you striking details about Hurricane Henri, which is effective in the state of Rhode Island in the east of the USA. This hurricane, which came with strong winds and heavy rainfall, caused great destruction on the East Coast. New York and New England regions were put on alert, and the public was warned against flooding and power outages. Hurricane Henri hit Rhode Island, moving at 95 kilometers per hour. In the warnings made to the residents of Long Island and New England regions, it was emphasized that caution should be exercised against floods and strong winds. While electricity could not be supplied to approximately 140,000 households due to the storm, trees were uprooted, bridges were destroyed, roads were closed, and many houses were damaged. Many bridges were destroyed by the power of overflowing rivers due to heavy rains. Especially those living in rural areas experienced serious difficulties due to the destruction of infrastructure. U.S. President Joe Biden, in a statement about the devastating effects of Hurricane Henri, stated that all necessary assistance will be provided to the residents of the region affected by the storm. President Biden stated that the federal government will provide full support in disaster relief and rescue efforts. This statement was an important source of morale for the communities damaged by the hurricane. Biden said that emergency funds will be directed to the region quickly, and all the resources needed will be provided. The U.S. National Hurricane Center, NHC, warned that heavy rains brought by Hurricane Henri could cause flooding and flooding. A state of emergency was declared in New York as the hurricane moved towards the East Coast. NHC announced that the intensity of Hurricane Henri, which formed in the Atlantic Ocean, has increased to Category 1 and is moving towards the east coast of the USA at 120 kilometers per hour. Potential hazards that Henri could cause include rapid flooding, coastal erosion, and infrastructure damage. Experts recommend that those living in areas affected by the hurricane keep emergency kits ready and follow the instructions of local authorities. It is also stated that those living in coastal areas should evacuate to higher ground. Hurricane Henri, which is expected to be effective in New York, Long Island, and New England, has alerted the authorities. While preparations for the hurricane continued rapidly, hurricane warnings were issued for Long Island and Connecticut. A state of emergency was declared in New York. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo reported that he deployed 500 National Guardsmen to respond to emergencies before the hurricane reached land. Additional security and medical personnel were dispatched to many regions for emergencies caused by Hurricane Henri. Hospitals and health centers have increased their capacity to serve those injured and in need of assistance. Due to power outages, generators were activated, and energy companies mobilized all their teams to eliminate malfunctions. Experts state that Hurricane Henri could leave long-term effects in the region. Flooding and coastal erosion can negatively affect ecosystems and the local economy. Agricultural areas and farms have been badly damaged by heavy rains and flooding. This may also affect food production and the supply chain. Repairing infrastructure damage and resumption of normal life will require considerable effort and resources. Local governments will focus on post-disaster recovery efforts and take the necessary steps to normalize the population. Federal and provincial relief programs will be of great importance in the long-term recovery process. Hurricane Henri developed rapidly in the Atlantic Ocean and reached the East Coast. The severity of the hurricane caused great destruction in the regions it passed through. Authorities stated that the effects of the hurricane may continue in the coming days and asked the public to be careful and cautious. It was emphasized that people should be prepared for floods, strong winds, and sudden weather changes. Meteorologists state that Henri may weaken to the level of a tropical storm in the coming days, but it can still pose serious threats. Continued rainfall and rising water levels could lead to more flooding and landslides in the region. Authorities advise the public to closely follow regional weather reports and emergency alerts for their safety. Dear viewers, we must all be vigilant and heed the authorities' warnings in the face of the devastating effects of Hurricane Henri. As severe weather conditions continue, take the necessary precautions to ensure your safety. Be prepared for adverse situations, such as power outages, flooding, and high winds. We will continue to inform you about the developments related to the hurricane. Stay safe